That was something nice. The hell am I listening to? Hey, what's up, Brian? Why do people think SWTOR is a bad game? I'm not entirely sure why people think it's a bad game. And for the people on For the Win Broadcasting or whatever, it takes a while for the chat to show up, so don't worry about it. But anyway, SWTOR isn't a bad game. People seem to think it is because they like. There are a lot of people who have ADD, and that's the only way I could describe it. That they want to get a game where they just jump in and they kill stuff, and there's no real necessity for anything else beyond that. They don't like story. They don't like stopping and paying attention. They don't like build up. They don't like anticipation. They just want to log in, play, and then log out. And SWTOR, for the most part, at least the leveling process is not like that. And so they're disenfranchised with the game. For instance, a lot of the people who really dislike this game really love Guild Wars 2. And Guild Wars 2 is the complete opposite. It is absolute drop in, drop out. No more thought really needs to be given except, hey, there's something to do over there. It's like it's a game built on ADD, and it's not a bad game. I'm not bashing Guild Wars 2. I like it, but it's a completely different pacing of game, and maybe that's what it is. It's the pacing that this game is more of an interactive movie than it is a strict MMO, and perhaps that's what throws people off. ADD, attention deficit disorder, meaning that they have to get up and go. They can't stop. They can't focus. They have the attention span of a puppy. And that's not everyone. That's not everyone. But let's see, what do you got there, crying? Yeah, I saw this the other day on Newegg or whatever, and I'm like, this is basically a, well, I don't want to say is a rehash of the Naga, but it's a rehash of the Naga, or whatever. It's really nice looking though. I like the white one, but um, the people on the forums are, I don't know. I'll say this, that if you're enjoying the game, you're not on the forums, and if you're not enjoying the game, you are on the forums. It's one of those things that a happy customer doesn't complain, and a complaining customer isn't happy. And the forums have basically turned into um, where disenfranchised and upset people go. I enjoy the game a lot too. I mean, I like it a lot. I haven't really found anything so deathly wrong with it that would have turned me off to playing it. I do recognize that there are some uh, idiosyncrasies and there are some inconsistencies in the game, and there are some things that I'm accustomed to in whatever my other favorite MMO might be that I don't get here. So that might play a part in it as well. But for the most part, the game is really enjoyable if you let it. A lot of people have this thing where they just hate anything that is not exactly what their favorite game is, and they're inconsolable. There's no reasoning with them. They're just angry. Um, so the people who are like that, I would say happy trails to you. Um, but realistically, there's nothing wrong with the game. For instance, I was playing Guild Wars 2, and I'm not trying to bash Guild Wars 2 at all. I actually like the game. I have it on pre-order. So it's already bought and paid for. I'm waiting for, anticipating release just like everyone else. But it's one of those games that doesn't get my motor going. It doesn't do it for me in terms of this is the game I have to play or whatever. It's kind of like, oh, this is cool. I'll play this for a while. It is definitely every bit Guild Wars 1 with a lot of fixes. So I don't know how else to explain that. It's a very PvP centric game, but the PvP to me feels very hollow. Um, it feels hollow. And some people will argue that, well, SWTOR PvP is hollow, and I would say you're right. You're right. Most of what the action and things that I'm interested in this game, a lot of it is in nostalgia and in my head or whatever. And but the PvP in Guild Wars 2 just feels so hollow. Like there's no point in like doing world versus world. As cool as it is to fight that many people, it doesn't seem to have there doesn't seem to be a point to it. We're gaining points. I mean, and it's nice to have three factions, but again, we're just gaining points. I mean, it's not like that actually means anything. Well, look at it like this. I could go to McDonald's and someone could tell me that the chicken nuggets are terrible. I don't give a shit what someone else thinks. I like what I fucking like. So if someone tells me the game is bad or whatever, my response is that's cool. That's cool that you have an opinion. I have an opinion too, and my opinion is different. So I don't need general consensus of some of the public to tell me what I should like and shouldn't like. And with all the MMOs that are coming out, all these AAA MMOs, so to speak, that are coming out, coming down the pipeline, I think it's a little foolish for people to think that we all should like one game. For instance, for a lot of people, the de facto MMO is World of Warcraft. And back in the day, for a lot of people, that's all they played. All they played was World of Warcraft. Other games didn't even show up on their radar. And now that we have competition in the market, it seems like people are confused. They're like, well, we all used to have one de facto game, and now there's so many. What? No, this is like this is weird. This is wrong. We should all be playing one game and all be focused on one game. This is weird having all these games. I mean, obviously there were people who played Guild Wars 1, people who played EverQuest, people who played um, Eve Online, people who played Anarchy and all that. But all those games seem to pale in comparison to the success that World of Warcraft had or has. And then you also have people who believe have this Ricky Bobby mentality. If you're not first, you're last. So if you're not the de facto MMO, if you're not the best MMO on the market, if you don't have the most subscribers, then you're a failure, which isn't true. Isn't even close to true. If that was true, there would only be one fast food giant in the world. That there would only be McDonald's. There wouldn't be Wendy's or Taco Bell or KFC or anything like that. It basically meaning that since McDonald's has the most business, it is the only restaurant in the world. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So when people are like, "Oh, well, SWTOR doesn't have," it had 1.7 million subscribers, almost 2 million subscribers, and now it's down to 1. Let's just say arbitrary number. I'll even take it down further. I'll say 1.1 million subscribers. It's a terrible game. Oh, it's so bad. They lost 600,000 subscribers. So what? They've got over a million subscribers at $15 a month. I mean that's a lot of money. A lot of money. I mean we're talking millions of dollars are being produced every month just from subscriptions. I mean, I don't know if they've recouped their development costs since they never would comment on how much it costs to make this game, which is probably a smart decision. Um, but they probably recouped most of the development cost already. And the layoffs to me don't seem like they're motivated by people are angry or people are doing a bad job or people are jumping ship. I don't think that's really what the issue is. I think what it is it's simple financial conservatism. It's trying to save as much money as possible. For instance, let me run a scenario by you. Vogel. I think Vogel recently left SWTOR. And he was a higher up. He was a big wig. He was lead something. I don't remember what he was. But let's say he was lead designer. Okay, I don't know what he was, but lead designer, right? If I approach someone talking about developing an MMO and I'm like, hey, I need a lead designer, right? I have to be talking a lot of money just to get that guy interested in that job because that's a difficult job starting an MMO from scratch. I want to lead and we're going to pay you $97,000 And that sounds pretty damn good to Vogel. He was like, hell yeah, I'll take $97,000 a year. And so Vogel, for the next 5 years, 4 years, he works his ass off. Really, really works hard for getting the game off the ground and running. And once that's done, and I see that the game is up and it's functioning and that I'm making money, I look at it and I say, well, do I really need a lead designer anymore? I probably don't need a lead designer of his caliber, and especially of his pay grade. What I can do is let him go or push him out the door at $97,000 a year. And I can go ahead and I get Tom, who was his underling. I can call Tom in the office and say, Tom, we just let Rich go. Do you want Rich's job? And of course Tom wants a promotion. He wants an office and he wants a new parking space. Of course Tom wants a promotion. But I tell Tom, I can't pay you $97,000 a year. I can pay 61. Now Tom knows that Rich got paid 90. He knows he got paid almost 100K, but right now Tom is only making 46. 46 to 61, that's a hell of a jump. Of course he says yes. He says yes. Boom. Right there, as a company, I have just shaved off roughly $30,000 worth of maintenance. Because it's cheaper to hire Rich than it is cheaper to hire the new guy than it is the old guy. It's very simple. The community manager, Rockjaw, right? Let Rockjaw go because he was making 47. Hire the new guy on at 26. Real simple. That's all it is. There's no more thought given to it. There's no more thought needed to be given to it. All you have to do is look at how much it costs to hire some of these big wigs, how these upper echelon guys, and you're like, wow, it's a lot cheaper to get a get an underling. It's a lot cheaper to get the guy who's 24 years old who just wants to get his name out there. It's a lot easier to get him and keep him. So that's what they did. BioWare, EA, for whatever reason, they decided that they needed to go ahead and cut costs where they could. And I think that that's a part of the recession for the industry as a whole, not just BioWare. But they went ahead and they said that we need to go ahead and somehow cut costs as best we can. And so they looked at the people that they had and they said, well, we can probably do without this person. We can get someone to fill his role, but we probably don't need him in particular. And that's all they did. They just went ahead and they cut costs where they needed to. And sometimes, it sucks to say it, but sometimes cutting costs means cutting people. And so they did what they did. And the whole thing is you can't look at BioWare or EA through a microscope. You can't look at a particular game. You can't look at SWTOR through a microscope, when in fact you need to look at the entire industry through a telescope, get the big picture, and then focus in. The entire industry is losing money. How many 50s do I have now? This is my fourth one. This will be my fourth 50. But my point is, you can't look at just BioWare. You just can't look at SWTOR. You have to look at the entire industry. Every MMO that is up right now is hemorrhaging numbers. Everybody is hemorrhaging numbers. Blizzard is hemorrhaging numbers. They're hemorrhaging numbers from World of Warcraft, albeit not as rapidly, but they're still hemorrhaging numbers. Maybe Blizzard is used to this, that in between expansion packs or whatever, they get a drop in subscribers. Maybe they're just weathering the storm better. The Secret World is reporting some loss of numbers or whatever, but that's to be expected. Terra, loss of subscriptions. Everyone's losing subscribers. Game studios, entire studios are shutting down. Because, like Radical Studios, the people who made Prototype 2, Prototype 1, they shut down completely. 38 Studios, Kings of Amalur, those people shut down completely. Sega closed 4 studios in Europe. They closed their French branch. They closed their Portuguese branch. They've closed a lot of stuff. Square Enix, the powerful and all-knowing Square Enix, has scrapped 13 verses or whatever. They've completely scrapped it because they're scrapping, calling it 13 verses, and they're going to start focusing it in a different direction, or they've decided that they're going to just not do the project for whatever reason. So everyone is hurting. The industry is not immune to a recession, a global recession, when video games are seen as a pastime and as a luxury item or whatever. It's a luxury good that a lot of people just can't afford anymore. So you can't really look at it through the lens of, oh, well, this company is doing bad or this game is doing bad, when in fact the whole industry is hurting. I mean, that kind of sucks. Yeah, Activision might even get sold. So the entire industry as a whole is suffering right now. So I think it's a little unfair to say that, well, this game is losing subscribers like that. It must be bad. It's a different kind of game. It's a slower kind of MMO. So there's really nothing else that can be said or whatever. Yeah, THQ. So if you guys love THQ, you guys better go out there and buy some Darksiders too. The entire industry is suffering, and the industry as a whole, this is a side point, is trying to find ways to make as much money as possible. Now, this that sounds kind of redundant because it's a business, but they're trying to make as much money as possible. They're actually actively trying to figure out a way to put GameStop and reused game sales, put resellers out of business. As an industry, coming together, trying to figure out how can we put these companies out of business. The biggest problem for game companies today is not piracy. Piracy is a problem, to be sure, but the biggest problem are used game sales. Bar none, used game sales. For instance, let's say you go to GameStop, right? If you go to GameStop and you buy a game that is on the shelf brand new is $60, right? The developer, the publisher, the store, everybody gets a piece of that. Everybody wins, right? But if you buy a game that's used, the publisher, the developer, they don't get a dime. They make nothing from it. All that money goes directly to GameStop. That's why GameStop pushes you to go get the used copy. Go get the used copy. Like, hey, when you go up and you're like, hey, I'd like to get this game, you have a brand new one. They're like, hey, we got a used one over there for $5 off. I mean, that's the whole shtick about it. So they want to put GameStop out of business because all of those games that you bought over the years or whatever have eaten into their profits, eaten into their development funds, their slush funds, and it's put a lot of these companies in the shitter. So we really, I don't want to say really need to, but they need to put GameStop out of business. Best Buy is getting in on the action. You can buy, sell, trade games at Best Buy. I did not know that. So they're trying to put this company out of business because it's bad juju for them. And I'm sure people are trying to figure out why is he listening to this random ass music. Right now I'm streaming on For the Win Broadcasting as well, and I'm going to try to do this every day. The only thing is I can't actually play my music, the music I want to play, because it's on YouTube. So keep that in mind. Nope, I do not have a character on the Nightmare Lands. By the way, I'll show you the keyboard I'm using. I'm not using my Black Widow today because it is ridiculously loud and it bothers my wife, whatever. And I like my wife better than I like my keyboard, so this is what move that out the way. I'm using this right now instead of my Black Widow. I'm using like a $35 or $25 Logitech wireless keyboard or whatever. I'm not even using the mouse, but so if you guys see me like kind of walking around in the game funny, it's because I'm getting my fingers adjusted, so forgive me. Yep. Online passes. This is something that was actually brought up the other day on the forums, and I actually thought it was a really good idea. The Secret World and Star Wars: The Old Republic is They are not produced, but they are published by EA. And I was wondering, I was like, would people be interested in playing SWTOR and the Secret World if there was a EA pass, much like Sony, like a Sony pass, where if you buy, let's say, a subscription to God, what's the game called? DCUO, which mind you is a free to play game, but you can buy a subscription to it. If you buy a subscription to DCUO, that you can also play the secret. You can also play all their other games. Same deal here. You buy a subscription to Star Wars, then you can play the Secret World. Maybe raise the price on like this premium, buy one get one free type deal. Maybe raise the price on it to $20 a month, and that way people could have two subscriptions going for two EA games. Maybe offer some incentives like, hey, if you get this $20 pack, you'll get all these extra little bonuses or whatever for both games. I don't know how well that would work for some people. Some people would see that as um, stupid because, like, well, I don't want to play the Secret World. Why would I pay extra $5 for it? All I want are the extra bonuses in Star Wars, or vice versa. Um, but I look at it like this: that makes the company's stock look good. It makes the company's stock look good in the long term. In the short term, it might cause them to lose money. So I'm not entirely sure how that would pan out for them, but just an idea that you basically get to play all of the offerings from EA, all their online offerings for one price. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. But I will say this: as far as Guild Wars 2 is concerned, after playing it this weekend, and I am always going to give an even-handed review of any game. The good, the bad, the ugly, the not so great, the amazing. Guild Wars 2 plays like butter. It is a very smooth game, and I'm making this making this point in reference to how people are like, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. SWTOR's Doom, this game is coming out. They said the same thing when Diablo came out. They said the same thing when the Secret World came out. People say doom and gloom no matter what happens, um, because it's not the newest and the shiniest. But basically, I'm playing Guild Wars 2, and it's not a bad game at all. Let me actually get out of this conversation so I can get a shower out. It's not a bad game at all, but it is a completely different offering than SWTOR. If you like SWTOR, you're probably not going to like Guild Wars 2 on the same level. For instance, I love SWTOR. I'm alright on Guild Wars 2. It's kind of like, it's alright game. Um, that type of deal or whatever. Oh, nice. I got a level. So the real question when people are like, oh, this game sucks or this game is going to kill it, there's no such thing. No one game kills the game. The only way a game dies is through atrophy or through lack of interest from the company. The day that BioWare stops pumping money into this game is the day that it dies, not a moment before. Um, so I guess a lot of people who have this just doom and gloom look on things, but it's like it's really not that bad. Where the hell am I going? All right. Yeah, I'll agree with Stoll on this one that Guild Wars 2 has a very WoW-esque feel to it. Not to say that it is WoW, not saying it's WoW, but the combat has a very WoW-esque feel. Um, the combination of weapons is really cool. That you can put a sword with a dagger, a sword with an axe, two daggers together, a great sword. I mean, I'm just talking about warrior, and that's really cool. But the thing is, it feels a lot like a WoW warrior. No matter what combination I put in my hands, all the skills kind of feel like I'm playing World of Warcraft, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just me, giving my 2 cents about it. But it does have a very World of Warcraft feel to the combat. Maybe it's because there's an auto attack, and I'm not accustomed to an auto attack anymore. Uh, I don't know. We'll see. But it's an alright game. It is an alright game. I'm not telling anyone not to buy it. I'm simply saying if you think it's going to be the second coming of Mario, you got another thing coming. And there are a lot of people who don't see any flaws in the game at all. They see no flaws in it at all. It is perfect just the way it is. And if you can't see a flaw in the game, you don't see something wrong with it, then you're looking at it through the eyes of a fanboy. Because low level warrior looks like a low level warrior. Yeah, this is all true. I mean, it's 100% true. I mean, I played it, so I'm not, I'm just not blowing smoke in my ass. I played the necromancer, I played the elementalist, I've played the thief, I've played the engineer, I've played the warrior. They, not all of them have a WoW counterpart, but the warrior really did feel like a World of Warcraft warrior. The necromancer really did feel like a warlock. I actually messed up and said warlock a couple of times last night, because that's what it feels like. It has that feel to it. Maybe not a current incarnation warlock, but a past incarnation warlock. Like, I had a lot of AoE available to me. I had a lot of pets available to me. I had a couple of siphon life type abilities available to me. Also, when people are like, there's no Trinity, bullshit. Bullshit. There is a Trinity. The Trinity is not as hard or as harsh as it used or as it would be in a different game. For instance, if you are a warlock, if you are a necromancer, you can heal yourself. That's cool. That's interesting. That's new. You can actually buff the group. All that stuff is great, but you're not going to be you're not going to be a frontline fighter because you're wearing cloth. You're not a frontline fighter. You are in the back, waving your fingers, doing a lot of damage, killing things. But I wouldn't say, heal me, necromancer. I wouldn't say that. I'd be like, okay, if I get some passive heals from him, great. But he is over there primarily to do damage and not get punched in the face. That is a ranged damage dealer. I don't give a shit what anybody says. If they say otherwise, they're a lying sack of crap. There's a Trinity. There is a Trinity. I played the warrior, and I could just run up and just throw caution to the wind. Fight whatever I wanted to, no problems. The necromancer, I had to kind of take my time. Elementalist, I kind of had to take my time. I had to realize, all right, that will probably hurt me if it gets close. I need to throw some spells at it, throw a couple of dots at it, weaken it before it gets to me, slow it down. That's a ranged damage dealer. Like, it is, all intents and purposes, there is a Trinity. Maybe it's not as harsh, maybe it's not enforced as strongly, but there is a Trinity. And I don't know where this thought that the Trinity is gone comes from. A warrior with a sword and board is way tougher to kill than a warrior with a gun. I mean, maybe the lines between um, the Trinity points have been blurred, but by all means, it's still there. It is absolutely positively still there. So I bet people will try to just hop into a group with uh, four engineers or five engineers or whatever and just try to run through a dungeon, and they probably can do it, but I promise you, albeit slower than the group that has a balanced makeup. I'm sure I could get through in a dungeon with all operatives in SWTOR, but at the same time, I'd probably have a much easier time doing it if my group was balanced. So it is definitely it takes its cues from Dungeons and Dragons in terms of class balance and makeup or whatever, just like every other MMO on the market. I don't see what the big hubbub is about. Maybe people really think the PvP is something to write home about. I don't know. I've tried it. It seems cool. It seems like fun. It also seems like a waylay. It also seems like you just jump in there and start whooping ass. Maybe because I wasn't playing with the guild. Maybe because that's the big draw, being in a group and fighting in a group and figuring out what you guys are going to do as a group and tactics and setting up combos. Maybe that's the big draw, the big appeal. But I didn't get a chance to experience that, so yeah, the whole thing is you can wear a lot of different combos. That's what I'm saying, that the Trinity might not be enforced as heavily, but medium armor is medium armor. Leather armor is leather armor. And there's no way that leather is equal to heavy. I mean, that's the whole thing. If they were, then we wouldn't they wouldn't call them different things or whatever. They would have different stat allocations. So, in terms of defense modifier, so there is a trinity. It's probably not enforced as heavy in other games, but it's there. It's definitely there. So, I mean, I like the game. I'm not telling anyone not to get it. I'm actually telling people to go get it. For 60 bucks, a buy to play game, it's an amazing game. It's an amazing offering for 60 bucks. You'll get a lot more out of it than you will your average $60 game or whatever. It's probably the best value as an MMO you're ever going to get. At 60 bucks, you can play it forever. No monthly subscription. That's awesome. This is a point that came up last night as well. That I think that when people say SWTOR will go free to play, I can't see it going. I can't see it going free to play. I just can't see it happening. I could see it going buy to play. You buy the box, and then there's a premium shop in the game. But I can't see this game ever going free to play where there's no initial investment, no investment at all. I can't see that happening. But buy to play, 60 bucks for the box and paying every time that there's a expansion pack, I could see that happening. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Um, shit. Um, the engineer, I will say, is a little squishy. I mean, the shield, being able to have a shield and a pistol is kind of cool, but you're not going to be frontline fighter, so to speak. You're going to be a guardian or a warrior if you want to be on the front lines. Swinging, knock people's heads off, throwing those haymakers, throwing caution to the wind. The engineer seems like it is kind of a utility-based class. I mean, depending on what build you do, obviously, but it feels more utilitarian. Like I bring an engineer because I don't know what I might face. So I want a guy who has a gun, has a turret, has a rifle, has a giant wrench where he can beat someone to death with it. All those things seem like it's very utility based, and that's not a bad thing. Just it's not the guy on the front lines. I was PvPing with a engineer, and he was getting flattened like nobody's business. When I was the engineer, and when he was the engineer, we're just getting his ass handed to him. Especially when he would just run in. But if he would stay on the outskirts and kind of mind his mind his p's and q's, and take pot shots where he could, set up a turret when it was appropriate. He was amazing, but the warrior, I could just charge and do whatever the fuck I literally did not care what I was fighting. And that seems what the difference is, that it's a thinking man's class, so to speak, that you can't just go in and do whatever. The hell? Let's see what we got here. Alright, I need to head south still. Uh, and then I don't know. I'm just being honest. When I had the warrior, I just did whatever. It did not matter. I could grab a gun and shoot somebody in the face, no problem. I could grab a sword and board and go punch someone in the face. If I wanted a long sword, it didn't matter. I was just like I was unstoppable. I was a god. And then for whatever reason, if I wanted to turn up the juice, I hit that F1 button, get that adrenaline rush, and that was it. I mean, that's just how it went for me. So um, the engineer, maybe that's a class for a more experienced player. I don't know. Maybe it's a class for a better player. Maybe I'm not good enough to play it properly. But the warrior, just jump in and kick people in the nuts. That's just what you do. Shield bash, stun, laugh, swing a mace. It didn't really matter what weapon you gave me. It was like, oh, this is how I kill people with this. Like, it didn't really feel like it made much of a difference. It was just pick your instrument of destruction. So I don't know if in the long run that's a good thing or a bad thing. I would hope it's a good thing. That way you can feel different and unique, and you can, pick a different build. But we'll see. We'll see how well it works out. But I will say this: the game does run smooth as butter. Absolutely runs gorgeously. It runs pretty good. I don't know if it's the card that I had, the card that I have, the 7950, or the idea that the game is really just that good or whatever in terms of performance or whatever. I'm not entirely sure. But I seem to enjoy it. It seemed to run pretty good on my computer. I had everything up except for shadows on ultra. My shadows were on high, and I was streaming, and it was fine. So we'll see. I see Guild Wars 2 being a game that I play. I don't want to say a lot. It's always going to be my standby, my second MMO, my kind of go-to game when I'm bored, or I've had enough story for a while and I just want to play the game. Maybe that's what it will be for me. But I don't see it being a replacement to Star Wars. I don't see it ever being that kind of game. So, I mean, it kind of had hints of Guild Wars 1, which is, I guess, is to be expected. But we'll see. It's the safety blanket. There you go. Thanks. That solved that problem. It's an alright game. Definitely an alright game. I wonder how people are going to look at it in a couple of months once the new shiny rubs off. I talked to a lot of people and they were mad about the Asura. Then when I talked to other people, they were mad about the Sylvari. Then other people hated the Norn. And it didn't matter what people wanted. They were just pissed off about everything. So I've gotten the impression that when people complain on the internet, it's not because there's any rational reason to it. I just think people like to fucking complain about nothing. People were upset that the Sylvari were English. I'm like, really? You're upset they have an English accent? You're like, I'm not gonna. This guy was like, I'm not gonna buy this game because they have an English accent. I'm like, are you serious? That's the detractor. Everything else about the game you like, but because the Sylvari, the plant people, one race, has an accent, you cannot fathom playing this game. I mean, it's jeez. It makes me worry about humanity. So, yep, the story is very mediocre by comparison. I mean, if you like story, you like SWTOR, and if you like combat, you probably like Terra. And if you like a mix of those two, neither one of them is especially impressive, but you like always having something to do, Guild Wars 2 is the game for you. Um, the combat in Guild Wars 2 can be a thinking man's game. It also can be very mundane. If you find a weapon combination that you just think is the bee's knees or whatever, you probably will never change. You probably never change that weapon combination. You might go and look for other stuff, but you're probably never realistically going to pick something else. And that's okay. But yeah, if you like story, you probably like Star Wars. I mean, just being realistic and honest. Yep. I mean, the whole thing is I'm not looking for flaws. I'm realistically not looking for things to complain about. I'm just looking at the game as a whole. Do I think the game has flaws? Yes. Do I think the game is perfect? No. But do I think the game is still worth the purchase? Yes. So same thing could be said with the Secret World. Same thing could be said with the Secret World. Only caveat with that would be that you have to like story and you have to like mystery. If you don't like story and mystery, you're not going to like the Secret World. SWTOR, if you don't like story, if you don't like hours and hours of story, you're not going to like Star Wars. Guild Wars 2, if you like story, you're probably going to be like, oh, this is all right. I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed that I actually had to stop and read in Guild Wars 2. I mean, I'm sure that sounds ridiculous after years of playing World of Warcraft. You had to read, boo hoo. Um, but I was a little disappointed that I had to stop and actually read what was going on, if that makes any sort of sense. Where the hell is the Shar at? I was a little disappointed that I actually had to stop and read and go, oh, okay. Go to the blah, 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 and seek blah, blah. Alright. You know, that did suck a little bit, as far as I'm concerned. God, this music is bad. Yeah, it's a very user-friendly game. Put it like that. It's a very user-friendly game. Alright, where the hell are we going to now? I still need to kill 20 more of these guys. Alright. Um, quest types I thought were actually kind of inventive. There's one that's kind of like, God, what was it called? Harvest Moon. There was a quest with feeding the cows and watering the corn. That was kind of like, I guess maybe a nod to Harvest Moon. I thought that was kind of neat. Um, but I'm sure there were people who complained about that. Oh, I don't want to feed the cows and water the corn. That's gay. I don't. But whatever. Um, Rune Factory. There you go. A wet blanket. Um, but the game is fine or whatever. It's worth the $60 purchase. But it is without a doubt a sequel to Guild Wars One. It is without a doubt a sequel to Guild Wars One. I think there's been a lot of overhype about it, where people are really they're trying to find the next de facto MMO. And so they're willing to go ahead and just say, well, this is the next big thing because it looks good, without actually trying it or whatever. I mean, I like the game. I think it's awesome. I think it's worth a $60 purchase, but I don't see it being the, oh my god, guys, Guild Wars 2. I see it being, oh, cool, Guild Wars 2. I like that. That's all right game. I like that. And I'd like to think that I haven't been wrong with my Nostradamus predictions so far. Um, but man, um, I don't know. I SWTOR bigger than Guild Wars 2. I will agree with you on that. I think the hype for it, ultimately for SWTOR, was the greatest downfall of it. I think that what ended up happening was BioWare started believing their own hype, and therein lied the problem. I think a lot of people were also really excited for a Star Wars game that wasn't sandbox, and they saw this and they were like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever!" And then they ended up trying it, and they're like, "Oh, this is all right. This is all right." But why isn't this in here? Because I really wanted to play that. You guys said that we are going to be able to play this. Why isn't this in yet? Like, people aren't patient. People really have the patience of children. when it comes to the internet or whatever. From because I want to assume because of anonymity, not because they're actually children. But yeah, it was really overhyped to the point where there was no way they could satisfy all these wants. I suspect, which kind of sucks. Kind of sucks because I'm sure BioWare wanted to keep as many people satisfied and happy as they could. But this is a long-term game that takes a lot of resources to do anything. Um, it's not a very simple game to produce, and I think people are going to find that in Guild Wars 2 as well, that the new content, once they get to 80 and they've PvP'd for like 2 months, I won't even say 2 months, I want to say a month and a half, there are going to be people who are like, well, I won't be logging in until they do blah, blah, blah again, since they can't say I'm going to unsub. But I think there's going to be a little bit of fallout with that too. There's some people who really do think that PvP is the best thing ever created in an MMO, and my response to that is if you really like PvP, if you realistically like PvP and really enjoy it above all else, then you shouldn't be playing an MMO. You should be playing a first-person shooter. You should be playing Street Fighter. You should be playing Tekken. You should be playing something befitting a PvPer. Like, that's true PvP. That's PvP in a scenario. Oh my god, she is gonna die. Poof. You should be playing something that is a real setting for actual PvP that tests might against might, that tests skill against skill. In a MMO, there's realistically never going to be a way in which PvP can be offered that satisfies all. So when people are like, oh, a game sucks unless it has collision detection, like this guy was saying that he really liked the PvP in Warhammer, and he said that, PvP can carry an MMO, and I was like, well, if that was true, Warhammer would be the de facto MMO, the de facto PvP MMO, but it ain't, because by virtue of that statement that PvP can carry an MMO, Warhammer, everyone I've talked to is like the PvP was the best element of that game, bar none. But even that fell short to the point that they're not even putting any money into Warhammer anymore. You can subscribe to it. There are like 5 servers up still. There is a kind of a test trial version as available as well, but there's only 5 servers worldwide, and those aren't even populated really. So, and they're not doing any new content updates to the game. They're doing some bug fixes to be sure, but that's it. They're not doing anything else. And to think that an MMO can be carried strictly by PvP is laughable at best. Yeah, I would say that this game is I think this game does fine or whatever. I think that it is a lot of parts World of Warcraft, and I think that's probably pissing some people off. And then on the same note, I think that this game is really good in terms of what it does and what it does well. It has story. It has, yeah, realistically, that's what the draw factor in this game is story. And if you don't like story, you're not going to like this game. Guild Wars 2, I think, is going to be one of those games that it has some PvE, it has some world boss elements, it has a lot of community-based stuff, but ultimately it is a PvP game. And so if you like PvP, then you'll probably like Guild Wars 2. And if you don't like PvP, or it's just kind of meh to you, you'll probably look at it and say, alright, this is alright. I'm one of those people who I look at PvP and I'm like, meh, it's alright. So that's what I'm going to look at the game as in general. It's like, it's alright. It's not the best thing in the world. I'm not creaming my pants thinking about it. So, what the hell am I listening to? I've got to get some better copyright-free music. lightning charge. There we go. Yeah, I mean, this is my fourth character, whatever. I mean, I haven't rushed at all or whatever. My first character, I leveled it up in about a week and a half because I really enjoyed the game. I was playing it. If I was awake, I was playing Star Wars. I mean, for a week and a half or whatever, if I was awake, I was in the game or whatever. So it's not unrealistic to say, oh, well, you leveled up in a week and a half. I don't feel as if I rushed at all. My other characters, I've played them a lot less frequently, and that's why I only have 350s, but I'm enjoying the story for all of them. I will say this, that I do the class quest, and I really pay attention to that, but the world arcs, not so much anymore, because this is my fourth time doing the world arc. I mean, how many times can I be told, destroy these Gormak supplies so they can't construct these ships so they can't get to the stars? I mean, there's only so many times I'm going to be able to sit through that or whatever before I'm like, yeah, whatever. Why? Oh my god, I wasn't even stealth. Um, let's see. But yeah, I don't really think that Guild Wars 2 is any sort of competition for Star Wars. I think that if you play Star Wars and you like it, you've already kind of made up your mind that this is the game that you're going to be playing for a while. And if you don't like Star Wars, you've already kind of made up your mind that you don't like the game. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Um, you've already kind of made up your mind that you don't like the game, and there's realistically nothing that anyone can do or say that will bring you back. Um, which kind of sucks. I mean, it does suck because it is a lot of people. I'm sure would like this game. I should see your new PvP set. I'm sure I will at some point. Um, but yeah, realistically, it's kind of sad because there's a lot of good things in this game, but people are. I don't know what they're upset about. I mean, realistically, it seems like it's self-disappointment. Studies suggest that if you're upset about anything for more than 12 minutes, it's self-inflicted. I mean, if you think about that, think about what that actually means. Anything you're ever upset about, if it's more than 12 minutes, it means it's not really what someone else did to you; it's what you're doing to yourself. So, what in the hell is this thing? Plant explosives. Is there an explosive I can set here? Hmm. So this is a ship. Where the hell is the ramp up? It says set explosives. Plant first set of charges. Maybe it's on the foot or something? That's all I could assume. I guess I'll come back to this one in just a second. Hmm. That's fucked up. It's on the doors. Oh. Well, there's a door. Find a safe spot for the detonation. And watch the fireworks. Um, well, I look at it like this. If your guildies quit or whatever, it seems like if your guildies quit or whatever, it seems like it's more of a point that your people that you were playing with stop playing the game, and that has an influence on a person's psyche and makes you want to not be here as well. But yeah, I will be the first person to say that when this game came out, it had more glitches than I really expected there to be. I mean, I expected there to be glitches, to be sure. Whatever, it's a brand new game. I expect there to be things that are broken. There are things that are broken in Guild Wars. I was doing a quest where a mob, no matter how many people were attacking it, would not lose any HP. And I'm thinking like, well, maybe it has something to do with us. Maybe this mob isn't meant to be killed. But it was. It was part of the story where you have to kill this thing, whatever. It's terrorizing a fishing village, and we just could not kill it. I mean, so we could not finish that quest. It kind of sucked. I came back like 3.5 hours later, and the mob was now in a different spot, and I could fight it, but it still wouldn't take any damage. I'm like, that's not good. I mean, and it's in a beginning zone. I mean, obviously this is something that should have been tested, ages ago. But I'm not holding that against the game or whatever. It's to be expected. I will say that SWTOR had a lot of glitches in the beginning that were just unreasonable. And to this day, I think that this game has a lot of things that should be addressed by BioWare that just aren't, which sucks. Absolutely, positively sucks. For instance, when they need to fix a glitch or a bug, it should not take them months and months and months to fix it. They should be able to fix it within a couple of weeks at the most. Yeah, BioWare. I mean, but BioWare is a company that is used to taking its time. When I get to it is when I get to it, which is not the way that you need to run an MMO by any stretch of the imagination. Is not the way that you run things in an MMO, but they're doing it anyway. So, um, for instance, glitches and bugs that they had in Mass Effect 1, it took them 8 months to get back to fixing any of it. There were glitches in Mass Effect 2 that it took them 4 months to even address. Mass Effect 3 came out when there was a problem getting online to do the co op, that it took them days to address it. And the fix was actually found by a player, not Bioware. So their track record is not very good when it comes to fixing bugs and glitches. I mean, I'll be the first person to complain about that. I mean, when we first started doing raids, we were fighting the bugs, fighting the programming more than we were fighting the damn boss. We were literally spending hours and hours on end fighting glitches and bugs and things that just realistically shouldn't be happening, more than we were even thinking about fighting Soa, like Soa randomly killing someone. Not with an attack, not with anything, just someone just falls over dead. The floor randomly falling from underneath people, not as part of the fight where it's supposed to fall, where just arbitrarily a piece of the floor will glitch out for a second, someone falls through and they're dead. Um, where you would hit Soa dead on with the twirling beacon things or whatever, and he would hit a knee, but his shield wouldn't drop. And you're like, so he got hit. It registered that he got hit, but his shield wouldn't drop. So there's a lot of stuff that is wrong with the game in terms of glitches, and it's gotten better. When they first came out um, with EV, it was a mess, absolute positive mess in terms of bugs, all that stuff. It sucked. Then they came out with Caracas Palace. It was as bad. there weren't as many bugs. It wasn't quite to that level. When they came out with Denova for the most part was basically bug free. I mean, there are bugs in everything. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't bugs, but it came out relatively bug free. Like you could do the encounters without pulling out your hair. You could actually figure out what was going on, um, which is cool. I mean, that's a necessity. Let's see. Yeah, lava guy responding. Yeah, garbage. Um, yeah, there were problems. I mean, EV was a mess. Karaga's Palace was better, markedly better, in fact. I mean, there were bugs, like Sorno and Jarg. You could kill them, and then Jarg would still be like up for like 5 seconds. They're already dead. They have no HP. You've killed both of them, but Jarg would still be alive for 5 seconds. And if he was enraged and he killed you while he was enraged, you still died. So what's that for the Nightmare Pilgrim? So that did suck or whatever, but they fixed that relatively quickly. I think they fixed that week 2, so that didn't happen anymore. There's a lot that they have fixed or whatever. So I will give them credit where credit is due. The game has gotten a lot better. They've gotten better with the patches. There are still bugs. There are still issues. There are still graphical glitches, but them not jumping on that is either a sign that they're working on bigger things, or two, they don't really give a shit. I hope it's the former rather than the latter. But we'll find out. Like Galt doesn't have a head if you put a companion. His name's Galt. He's a Devorian, devil-looking guy, and if you put a helmet on him right now, his head disappears. So you got this headless companion walking around, which, as funny as it is for the first 15 minutes, is like, wow, that's a bug. How come you guys haven't fixed that? So
The explosion shook the ground. The Gormak surely know their ship will never fly. Now is our chance to strike a Jokul, their leader. I have sent a strike team ahead. They will need your help. Jokul retreated to his stronghold.
oh, I read that the other day or
Stables are
whatever.
all wounded with him.
No, it does not matter if the subscriber lives outside of the U.S. We ship it wherever.
Are they hostages?
And if we can't ship it, we'll purchase whatever through like Amazon.com, or we'll purchase it at a local retailer and just have you go pick it up. So you'll get your prize. It might not be like the physical item I'm holding. For instance, if I was giving away, let's say, this Xbox controller or whatever, it may not be this particular Xbox controller you're getting, but you'll get, the same brand, the same make, the same type. You just might have to go pick it up at your local retailer. So everyone does get their prizes. I just got done shipping out like $70 worth of stuff the other day. Or rather, the shipping cost came to be $70. I shipped out over $600 worth of stuff the other day. So yeah, I saw that paragraph, whatever. Basically, what the guy said is, we will do whatever it takes to make this game be profitable. If that means we have to go free to play, then fine. That means we have to increase the subscription rate by 3%. What he basically said is nothing is off the table. And it's misconstrued as, hey, we're going free to play. I mean, I can't see this game going free to play. I can see it going buy to play, buy buy the box, and them opening up a cash shop type mini items and charging for expansions and content. I can see that happening, but I can't see it just being absolutely free where you pay nothing to get into the game. I don't see that happening. I could see them doing something like, let me go ahead and turn off the music for just a second. I could see them doing something like Guild Wars 2 in terms of, you give us $60 for the box, all right? We implement a little cash shop where you can buy little fun fluff items. So the Tauntaun Fawns, the Orchids, different colored crystals, like a white and green one or a white and blue one, um, a silver one, a black one, little stupid crystals that don't mean anything. They're not more powerful or anything, they're just different colored. Introducing uh, races that you could buy. All right. Also, in addition to the account management store, just like Blizzard has, where you say, "Oh, I want to be a male Twi'lek now." All right, $25. I could see them doing that, but only if they maintain the initial $60 and rate to get in the game. If they did that, I would be like, "Oh, well, that's fine," because I've played a couple of free to play games, and those communities suck dick. They suck so badly because there is literally no entry barrier to people getting in the game. You just get in the game and do whatever the fuck you want. If the GM says you're a bad person and you're keeping shit going and they ban your account, you say, "So the fuck what? I'll just get another account. It's free." Um, and therein lies the problem. I don't want the game to go free to play. I don't see it going free to play. It doesn't make sense logically, financially, anything like that. Changing up the business model to suit the times, I could see happening, but only in respect to going a buy to play route, where in fact they still do charge you something and they still do have a subscription plan in place. But everything that you get in the game is sold to you. For instance, hey, we're looking for, 5 people to go to EV Nightmare Mode. Must have a deluxe subscription. That might be a realistic outcome if the game ever goes buy to play or even free to play. I don't see free to play happening just because it messes with what they've already got established. It messes with the money. Buy to play with a subscription attached to it, I could see. I just don't ever see it go completely, hey, just log in, just log in, download it, get into the game, cost you nothing. That's not going to happen. There's too much money sunk into this game for them to pull the plug on it so early. Maybe in 3 or 4 years that would be a possibility, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Lightsaber movies on board sounds good. You don't need a subscription if you ask me. Buying the game once is enough of an entry if you ask me. You have to buy it again. Sounds enough to keep idiots away. I don't see the whole thing is this that let me turn off the music one more time. This is my thing. I don't see the game going buy to play without some sort of premium subscription model attached to it. Here's why. This game cost a lot of money to produce, to build, to make, to get the IP from LucasArts, to hire the voice actors. Voice actors individually don't make a lot of money, but collectively they probably do take up a large chunk of money. Getting people back in the studio to cut new lines of dialogue, getting new stories to be written. Writers are not cheap. All of that stuff costs money. And even at $60 a box copy, BioWare probably could not afford to stretch this game out in terms of content and add stuff and war zones and battlegrounds and all this stuff, open world PvP, all these things that they want to do, taking space combat off the rails, all that stuff. They probably can't afford to do it if no one is continually paying in every month. They probably couldn't afford to do it on the quality level they're doing. A lot of people might hate this game, but you can't deny, you can't shake the fact that the game itself, the overall feel and look and scope of the game is a high quality game. It's not like a free to play game from Korea. It is a high quality game. That being said, I don't think they can do it. They can keep that type of quality in terms of voice acting and story if they're not making money every month. So I could see them going buy to play where you have to pay $60 for the game and then offering on top of that saying, hey, If you go ahead and put up your $15 a month, all the content that comes out, you're going to get. And then they say to the buy to play players, or the players who want to buy the game and never have to pay again, if you want new content, or you want access to this new war zone, or you want access to this or that or the other, it's going to be $8 to buy this and unlock it. And when we give out extra freebie stuff like the black hole comms or the pets and all that other stuff, they only go to the subscribers. I could see them going a route like that, but as far as just give us $60, you can play the game forever for free until the next expansion, I don't see it happening. What would end up happening is that the expansions would come very, very quickly, and they would be very, very small expansions, much like Guild Wars 2 does, or Guild Wars 1 did, where you would buy the game, play it for 4 or 5 months, and then there would be an expansion pack to buy at another $60 a pop. And then you play it for 4 or 5 months, and there'd be another expansion pack. That type of thing. Sometimes it would go 9 months before an expansion pack. But they gave, I think in Guild Wars 1, there were like 5 expansion packs. That's a lot. And if you really think about it, Guild Wars 2 is another expansion pack. They're probably going to kind of slow down on doing any development for Guild Wars 1, despite whatever they may say. They're probably going to slow down on that and then kind of focus on Guild Wars 2. I can't see from a monetary standpoint how that would be a good idea, going completely free to play. And if they went a buy to play method or route, I can't see that working out without some sort of supplementary income or pushing out content patches disguised as expansions. I just can't see it happening. But that's just my take on it. Yeah. And by the way, when people talk about voice actors do not make a whole lot of money. They, for instance, a voice actor, let's say the woman who did Ashara's voice, right? She might have gotten paid $3,000 to $4,000 to do voice work for Ashara, right? This one take for this first expansion, she might have got paid, let's say $4,000. Let's just be, fairly conservative with it. She got paid $4,000. That being said, she may not get another gig for another 3 months between those sessions. I mean, think about how many jobs she must have to make $50,000 a year or whatever. That woman is working her ass off to make $50,000 when she's only getting paid $5,000 a gig. She's not making 100K to be a voice actor or whatever. She's making $5,000, $4,000, $6,000 or whatever to work for BioWare, and then she has to go get another job somewhere else to supplement her income. So it does seem like a lot of money when you're like, well, there were 50 voice actors and they're all $5,000 a pop. That's really expensive. Not really. That probably comes up to the equivalent of 2 salaries at BioWare. I mean, that's not a whole lot of money, but it is a whole lot of time. It is a whole lot of time that's required. So. I mean, the whole thing is everyone would prefer a Guild Wars 2 approach or a free-to-play approach because it costs, I mean, the whole thing is it would cost us as the consumer very little. And that's what people would like. I mean, in any situation when you say, would you rather pay $1,000 or $60 or whatever, everyone would say, I'd rather pay $60. But that's just not a realistic way of looking at it. I mean, you're paying 50 cents a day already. I mean, it's 50 cents. Jeez, it costs more to sponsor a child in a third world nation. We're talking 50 cents a day to play whatever MMO it is. That's really not a huge investment. I mean, we try to make it seem like it is, and we're like, oh, God, I could spend that money. You spend more money at McDonald's. I mean, realistically, you think about it, in a month, you spend more money at McDonald's than you do on whatever MMO, which is ridiculous. Oh shit.
Best duelist in my class.
Um, let's see. But the business model is irrelevant if there isn't anything to do once you hit 50. Not everyone wants to re-roll. Ever so it makes no difference. You have a lot of patience still be putting up with the game. I'll say that that's true. You do have to have a lot of patience, and that's something that's probably missing from a lot of people. The idea of patience. These are not games that are updated every day. For instance, you go a month and a half between 2 months, 3 months, 5 months in between updates, and that's still fairly speedy. But you have to have stuff to do, and I agree. But if you don't like, one second, let me get out of that real quick. If you don't like re-rolling, you don't like PvP, you don't like raiding, you don't like space combat, you don't like, I mean, what in the hell do you want them to do? I mean, you can go raid. There are operations to do. There's only three of them. I'll give you that. There are only three of them. There's only realistically one tier of gear. But there are operations to do. There, you can do them in 16-man, you can do them in 8-man, you can do them in hard, you can do them in story, you can do them in nightmare. There are 8 classes to play with 8 different individualized story arcs. You can do that. There is PvP. There is rated PvP now. You can go do rated PvP. You can do non-rated PvP. I mean, what else? Name something else there is to do in an MMO. I mean, I'm at a loss. You can go and hustle the auction house. You can be one of those people. I know people who actually get off on running the auction house. I'm like, what else do you want these people to offer you? There's not a whole lot of variety when it comes to an end game. What I mean is the game isn't designed for longevity. Could be, will be, but they've been making it be what they wanted to be at launch instead of new stuff. Now they will do new stuff. They have until um, I look at it like this: that what the game should have been at launch is what we have today. That is my personal preference. That the group finder should have been in there. The guild bank should have been in there. It should have had all these things at launch. That's true. But those are all minor things. The nuts and bolts of what the game needed to work was there. And they launched with the bare minimum of the nuts and bolts. They had this beautiful idea in their head, and they basically ran out of time and money. And so they were like, we got to go with what we got. And so they went with what they had. And it's not that bad a game. It's really not that bad. What I think ended up happening was a lot of people, fans included, we had this huge idea of what we wanted in our head that wasn't promised to us. We had this idea, this fantasy in our head. And when the game came out and it didn't match the fantasy, we felt betrayed and lied to. I mean, so betrayed. Like, for instance, space combat. There's some people who realistically were so put off the fact that space combat was on the rails, they stopped playing the game altogether. Like, they got to level 7, found out it was on rails, and stopped playing. And I'm like, what? You got to level 7 and you quit playing because space combat is on rails? What? Alright, whatever. Um, that kind of sucks. Then you had people who just, there are some people who just don't understand that the game is built for longevity. It is built for longevity. It's an MMO. It is copy paste from World of Warcraft in terms of what it offers. And then it offers a little bit more, like space combat, on rails or not. It does offer that. It's a mini game, to be sure. It does offer cutscenes. It does offer relationships with your companions. It does offer re-rolling more than just a different type of combat. It does offer a lot more stuff, but it's very subtle if you're not looking for it. So, um, okay. I don't know. I don't understand what people are looking for. I mean, they seem to be looking for the next big thing, and I'm just telling people there is no next big thing. There is never going to be a World of Warcraft ever again. It's never going to exist. It doesn't exist. Oh, let me turn off my music so I can listen to this guy.
Vietnaman tayo voitamak. Vuavaska, bam kip bungham trong wan lao, the chow droksha.
Yes, I am corrupted. I need you to heal me of my corruption.
Ne so fun de ko nagane va te aknan ni matan. Dan foi vutagan aknan chok tontai. Vebegor ne so fun.
Help me, or I will tell your friends about your dream-walking ability.
Vi go woi that wai chakam. Komongi wai he triole. Ne so fun de ko nagane va te aknan ni matan.
If it will win me your friendship, then I accept.
Kumniku wai bam lui chotai fai lai angor sun nei lam sayo. Vuavaska bam ki bungham trong wan lao the chow droksha. Dan foi vutagan aknan chok tontai. Vebegor ne so fun.
Help me complete my ritual, and I will get you through Voskar and into space.
Vi go woi that wai chakam. Komongi wai he triole.
You walk in dreams like I do. That's all I need.
Wai kong ni bao li ting tong doro lao. Vuavaska bam ki bungham trong wan lao the chow droksha. Kontrai kua vai tram nam maya chong di to.
That's actually really cool. Yeah, Titan isn't even gonna do as well. Oh no, crying! It didn't blow it up or anything. I was busy this weekend. But yeah, the game is fine. I just don't see what people are so upset about. 1.3 is what the game should have launched with, but they didn't. For whatever reason, they thought they could get away with less, and they did for a while. But they should have had faster updates in terms of getting it up to 1.3. And I'm just talking about quality of life stuff. I'm not talking about content. When people were complaining, like I was looking at forums the other day, people were complaining saying, "Oh, there's only 4 war zones in Star Wars. That's bullshit." And I'm like, wait a minute, wait. In World of Warcraft, there were only 3 war zones. 3 for years. We're not talking 1 year or 8 months. We're talking years. We're talking until Burning Crusade, there were only 3. And you're complaining that there are only 4 in SWTOR at month 7? Oh, God. Just, I don't know. It is ridiculous. Absolutely, positively ridiculous. I don't know. Stargate is a very niche sci-fi game or sci-fi show. So I don't know if, not to say that Stargate is a bad show. I actually liked it or whatever. I just don't know if it would have worked for an MMO. Same thing with Star Trek. The thing is, Star Trek is a very well-known, beloved franchise, and even if they put it in the hands of Blizzard, I don't know if Star Trek would have translated well to a MMO. It's, when you stop and think about it, it's kind of a boring premise for a show. We get on our interstellar ship and we just go trolling the galaxy, fucking with people, breaking the Prime Directive 9 times out of 10. I mean, that's what Star Trek is. So I don't know if Star Trek didn't translate well. I don't know how well Stargate would have. I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things. I'll make that video. I'll totally do it. damn you, Sony Online Entertainment. I've been getting the best role play of my... Like, I'll put on a wig and do the whole thing. I don't give a fuck. By the way, did anybody watch Black Dynamite last night? Oh, God, that was good. Oh, man. There's a guy in there, his name is Sweet Throat, and I almost fell the fuck out. That was great. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Oh my god. That was amazing. If you guys don't know what Black Dynamite is, it's a show on Cartoon Network, where it basically makes fun of 1970s like black vigilantes superhero cop, Black Dynamite, of the same name. And I fell the fuck out. It was amazing. The panty dropper. Yeah, there you go. I thought that was so funny. This dude would literally say stuff that apparently he could rhyme or whatever, and he would just say funny little quips or whatever. And women would walk around like, "Oh!" and the panties would just fall on the floor. And I'm like, that is amazing. Wish I could do that. By the way, the people on For the Win Broadcasting, I know you're probably talking or saying something to me. I can't see what you're saying, unfortunately. It's a problem with YouTube. Comments aren't made in real time. Like, you may make a comment, but it won't show up for like 45 minutes, half hour or so. So I do apologize. I'm not reading what's going on For the Win Broadcasting. I'm only reading what's going on Twitch.tv. So I'm sorry about that. If you want to go over to Twitch.tv, it's Bordeaux85 at Twitch.tv. So it is amazing. And then I felt immediately bad afterwards because I was watching Taboo, and they were doing an episode on prostitution, and I felt so bad, but at the same time I kind of giggled. I thought, like, could Bordeaux be a pimp? And I was like, nope, nope. The fact that I physically would have to fight someone on a daily basis or a damn near daily basis to do what I want them to, I'm like, I don't think I could do it. But I was watching it, and I was trying to understand this girl. She was 19 or whatever, and she would go to bars or whatever, in hotels or whatever in Las Vegas, or not Las Vegas, in Atlantic City. Not dressed like a prostitute or whatever. She's wearing blue jeans and a hoodie or whatever, cute makeup on or whatever, but she's not dressed like a prostitute or, anything that makes you think besides she's a college student just downstairs getting a drink or whatever. And I stopped and looked at it or whatever, and they asked her, like, well, how much money have you made tonight? And she's like, oh, $2,000 or whatever. It's a slow night. I'm like, you made $2,000 tonight? And they asked her, like, can we get an interview with you? Can we talk to you? Try to see what's going on, try to understand what draws you to this. And she was like, sure. And she talked to him, whatever, and they were like, all right, so what happened? She was like, well, I was like 19. She was like, I was like 18. I was down here getting a drink, illegally. And this guy, older guy, came up to me, and he was talking to me, and he was like, hey, how much? And she just was, kind of sloshed or whatever, and she was like, well, how much you got? And he was like, oh, well, I got $550 or whatever. And she's like, $500. And he said, cool. And she was like, wait, did I just prostitute myself? And she went upstairs or whatever. And he's an old man. It's not like he's gonna be, fucking for like hours on end or anything like that. He's gonna be, 3 pump chump type deal or whatever. And she was right, and he did his 3 pumps, and he was done. And she was like, and now I've got $500 in my hand. Like, and it's like the light clicked on, and she was like, I got $500 for 3 pumps? Oh my God, this is amazing. And I stopped to think about it, and I was like, wow, all those boo-hoo, poor hooker this, poor hooker. I'm like, this chick right here is a capitalist to the core. She saw that she could overcharge for something and make a killing. She made, on an average night, she's making over $2,000. I'm like, victim my ass, capitalist. I'm just like, that's crazy. And they were like, they were trying to understand like why a young pretty girl who's not addicted to drugs or anything like that, who doesn't have a pimp, why she would go and prostitute herself, like trying to understand it, like easy money, ridiculous easy money. I'm like, in in 5 minutes she's made $500. She doesn't have any drugs in her veins. She doesn't have HIV. She doesn't have herpes. Nothing like that. It took her 5 minutes and she's made $500. Why in the hell would I go to work and work for 2 weeks to make $500 when I can just come down here, let somebody get their 3 pumps and make $500? She's paid her rent in 5 minutes. She's like, I got addicted to the money. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I want to be addicted to money. I want women to pay me to have sex. That'd be amazing. Call me the panty dropper. Like, that's crazy. But I thought to myself, if I ever was going to get into some sort of criminal enterprise, I would totally be a pimp. I'd totally do it, except for the point where you have to start hitting people. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to hitting someone in like a life or death situation, but I'm not going to beat the hell out of a woman. Like, there's a woman on the ground, I'm going to punch her in the face. Like, I'm not going to do that. That's too much. I can't imagine someone doing that, it having a soul. I just can't imagine it.
None of the Gormak we've encountered so far seem to be in charge. Where is...
Much further than
That's just a touch chilly, isn't it?
we will join you again when it is.
Alright. Hire some muscle. Is the next Deuce Bigelow? Ah, boy, if only. Alright, ladies, I won't be hitting the bottom of the tuna can, but them sides, I'm gonna fuck them up. That's how I should sell. That's how I should go ahead and play it too. Hey, ladies, I'm not gonna hit the bottom of that tuna can, but them sides, I'm gonna wear them out. I'm gonna wear them out. And then they had another point. They said, well, it's taboo for men to pay for sex. They're like, it's taboo in the West anyway. The question is, would it be taboo for someone who is disabled to pay for sex? Like, he can't get it on his own. He's not a bad person. He's not a mean guy, but he's in a wheelchair. You know, what chance does a guy in a wheelchair have of, you know, getting lucky at a bar? Like, none, basically. Jim Jeffries moment basically came up, and they showed this guy who he has some condition. I can't remember what it is, but basically has very limited control of his left hand and his head, and that's it. So he can move his head up, down, left, right, smile, very intelligent, college educated, has a very nice house. His house costs something like $300,000. He works in television. He's an editor, so, you know, playback, cut that, all that, you know, basically. He works for the BBC, and his left hand works, and that's it. And he's also, like, that big, and he's in a wheelchair. And they were like, would it be taboo for that guy to pay for it? Because it's not like he's going to be able to attract a woman based on the laws of nature and attraction. It's not like he's going to be able to talk to a healthy, full-size adult woman and convince her that having sex with him is a good idea. And I stopped and I thought about it, and I thought about Jim Jeffries and his story about his friend, and I was like, nope, nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, by the way, yeah, we are looking for writers for GamerGuys.com. So if you're interested in writing, doing some product reviews or whatever, you know, stuff like this will get sent to your house or whatever, and you get to keep it. The only thing that you have to do is write a review on it. Those type of things, if you're interested in doing that, game reviews, fluff pieces, we need writers. We need people who might be interested in doing some on-camera stuff. So if you're interested in any of that, send Stoll or send myself a message, and we'll get you hooked up with the details. We'll get you the contract to sign, and we'll get you hired on or whatever. Sample writing, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Pocket don't get shit from me. Yeah. Pocket is an idiot, by the way. Just letting people know. I mean, if you've ever met someone who's a spoiled fucking cunt, that would be the one right there. Apparently, she has this belief that poor people are poor because they're lazy. I'm like, bitch, I know you got shown over. I'm poor, and lazy. I'm a lot of things, but lazy ain't one of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I will get up at noon and have a cup of coffee and then do work and schoolwork or whatever. But I'm still broke. It's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I'm not educated or whatever. It's because I'm literally stuck behind the 8 ball in some regards. And this dumb bitch who gets paid to sit on her ass and play video games and go, tee-hee, I'm a girl. I have no boobs. I mean, she talk about flat-chested. But anyway, she's a moron. She is a moron. And I'm not. I try not to get into politics too much or whatever. But I've got to ask this: if you're poor, why in the hell would you be a Republican? I mean, I'm just being honest. I've met a guy who was gay, broke, had a lisp, and was a Republican. And I'm just looking at him like, do you like being abused? I'm like, I just couldn't think. He was gay. Wait, I'm sorry, gay, Latino, had a lisp, and a Republican. And I'm like, what in the fuck is wrong with you? Penny went to a Republican convention. Get her. He likes being choked. Apparently so. Just like, wait a minute, let me get this straight. You're a Republican? What the fuck is wrong with you? For instance, Nerd. I love Nerd to death. Nerd is a good guy, a fun guy or whatever. But I gotta ask this. Nerd, you're as broke as I am. You're in the exact same position I am. You go to work, you have a wife, you're in college, and you're fat and bald like I am. What in the hell makes you think being a Republican is somehow be a benefit to you? How does that behoove you in any way, shape, or form? I mean, is it the thought that one day I'll be rich, and when I am, guys like me better watch out? Like, it's like, what? For the booze. She went for the booze. Do they have the good stuff, Penny? I love Nerd to death, but I don't understand. Like, I want to understand. I do. But the whole thing is, I'm not going to get behind the group of people who want to see me stay poor. Like, just, or going to try to, like this. I am more likely to be broke, like dead broke, any day of the week than I am to be a millionaire. I am more likely to tomorrow morning waking up and having no money in my bank account than I am to waking up and having $1 million in my bank account. That being said, how do you get behind a group that likes the idea of people like me when that possibility does occur that there are no social services available for me? I'm like, you are in the same predicament, miss 2 paychecks, and your ass will be on the street like the rest of us. Like, how can you get behind a group like that? Did you meet any nice boys there, Penny? I know your father would have been happy. Why don't you meet a nice Republican boy? Oh, like 60-year-old men. Did you meet a nice sugar daddy? Not gonna lie, if I was a woman, I would be sitting on a gold mine, like literally and figuratively. Oh my God, if I was a woman and single, I would have 2 sugar daddies and a boyfriend. The amount of money I would be bringing in on a daily basis would be incredible. There you go, Stole. That's the right attitude. Keep my drink full. Hey, don't let this motherfucker fall below halfway at any point. I like that, Penny. It's a good idea. By the way, March 1st we're having DespairCon in. Where are we having DespairCon at? Hold on, let me see. We're having it in Indianapolis. We're having DespairCon in Indianapolis. So if you want to go to DespairCon, you guys let us know. It's for Kit Kat's 21st birthday, so we're gonna go get Kit Kat fucked up, and we're gonna go to the strip club, and we're gonna go show Kit Kat naked ladies for a while, and then we're gonna go to the movies. We might go play laser tag. We're gonna go get drunk. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. And we're renting a, I don't know what kind of SUV we're renting. But it's going to be good times. It's going to basically be the nerd version of The Hangover. And that's what we're doing to celebrate her 21st birthday. She won't remember most of it, but we're going to document it all on film. We're going to have Penny's tiny car. I thought about driving, but I'm like, I don't want to drive all the way over there. That's gonna suck because I'm gonna get lost. But we're gonna go do that. We were looking up the I think the other day we were looking up the shadiest strip clubs that we could possibly find in Indianapolis. And one of them, there was a review for one of them. It said, "Not one titty in the house under 40." I almost fell the fuck out. It's in like a residential neighborhood too. So we're definitely going to that one because that's going to be good times. As somebody named Dolores comes up smoking a cigarette. Hey, darling, you want to dance? Oh, I can't wait. That's going to be great. Boobs down to her knees, looking like eggs on a nail. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Oh, it was across the church, from a church and a preschool. That was true. So it's going to be good times. It's going to be amazing. I don't know how much of it we're going to be able to put on YouTube, but we're going to put a lot on YouTube. Right at the first stage. Probably. And that's when I'm like, crying, I owe you a lot. Dolores, go give my boy Crying, go give him a lap dance. And knowing Crying, he'll be like, yeah, Dolores, wear them dusty walls out. Oh god, that's gonna be fun. It's sad that I'm more excited for Kit Kat's birthday than she is. Alright, let's see what we got here. God damn it. Cool. Somebody named Judge. Hey, Judge, how you doing? Penny, are you at work? I would assume so, since she'd like to keep her house. Do I have to kill any more of these damn things? Nope. Blah, blah, blah.
I have no... Where did you get this?
See how they like this.
I want some brownies. Actually, I did want to play Borderlands. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, oh, that'd be cool if I just downloaded that and played it right now. So I want to go. I want to try it. I don't know how well I'll do at it. I'll be the guy shooting at the sky and be like, what the hell is he doing back there? But
Yes, I
What do outside? You. I'll give you to the Voss. Your visions might be what.
You take him to tell you.
okay. Let's see. Where the hell are we going to now? What times do I stream? I stream Monday through Friday. What time I start and stop, I could not tell you. Some days I wake up late and I start streaming late. Other days I wake up ridiculously early and start streaming early. But I do stream Monday through Friday. And I haven't been streaming on For the Win because it's kind of a pain in the ass to set up. And then on top of my graphics card blew up or whatever. But I'll be streaming on For the Win Monday through Friday, just like I will on Twitch.tv. God, it takes me an extra like 10 minutes to set that up every day on For the Win. And it's not AWOL or anything. It's just YouTube sucks donkey dick when it comes to setting up and getting your stream to work properly. I can't just hit broadcast and go. I have to go through, create an event, create a timeline. I have to go through and set it up and put it on the front page. I have to go through and check the audio levels. I can't play any copywritten music. So it kind of sucks. It really does kind of suck or whatever. So yeah, Central Standard Time. A petty human conventions liked. Okay, Penny, that sounds good. Like you have no idea how badly I want to turn on some happy music instead of this just random beat in the background, but whatever. So it doesn't make sad puppy faces. Damn, you crying. I'm not gonna be honest. I don't know if I'd be all right with my neighbor bringing me food. I don't know. My neighbor brings me food. I'm like, arsenic, rat poison. What's in here? Where are we going to? Old school Sicilian. So by the way, if you guys don't know, Stoll's hair is red now. Hey Stoll, you wanna leave your boyfriend? Ha ha ha. Stoll has red hair. How you doing? Huh? How you doing?
Let's see how they like this.
Oh my god, did it just get hot in here? Oh jeez. Whew. Talk dirty to me, Stoll. Talk dirty to me. Oof. Oof. I do declare I have the vapors. Wish my wife would dye her hair red. That'd be awesome. At that point, you wouldn't see Bordeaux for a few days. You'd be like, oh, where's Bordeaux? Making cinnaminis is what I'm doing. Yes, yeah, crying. I'm sorry. This weekend or whatever got out of hand really, really fast. Like Friday, I mean, literally everything got out of hand this weekend. It was ridiculous. My nephew was over here. My niece was over here. There were barbecues to be had. I went to go see The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, it got out of hand really quickly. And I totally meant to do it to go do DPS on Friday, but that shit just did not pan out.
Jedi doesn't fear death.
Why are these so much lower level, man? That's weird. Yes, I have. I don't know how he lied to that poor woman, but what are we doing there, homie? What does he want? There we go. But anyway, yeah, we should have did DPS this week, but we'll do it this week. We should have done it last week, but whatever. Oh, somebody has to go to work. Actually has to do their job. I don't like that. I think people should get paid just for being awesome. You should get a paycheck, Penny. Sweet. All right. Yeah. I'm being honest. I think next time my nephew, he's 2. Next time he's over here, I think I'm just gonna hide. I don't know if I can deal with that little boy. I don't want to fight him yesterday. You know, when a kid is sleepy, how they get whiny. You know, he was sleepy. He was like dead to the world sleepy, and he just would not go to sleep. We put him in the bed. We turn off the lights. We turn on some soothing music. He was not having it, and I'm like, I want to fight you, little boy.
You're the best duelist in my class.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
That was a challenge.
Is that it? Indeed, I do want to fight a child. What the hell? Oh.
Quantai lappa, uat bonaudan piukutuva.
Does this guy need help or something?
Vlatan van tau, dat wat vipam laogron. Gronati boy kon konika lampu.
Hell am I waiting on?
You aren't the only ones who want to see her punished.
I kuni pam atam sabori. No one agrosai. Wale kon patron bigay tupa.
We've got common interests. We should work together.
Uawaska, pam ki ungam tromwan lao. The chow toksha.
Better late than never.
Luan we say, habram. Da no we gay one big country.
I'll show you the ropes if it gets me out without trouble.
Flamingwang, pam jiwan kwamak gilan va. Isongefan ramakwan, katoden.
Got the hang of this pretty quickly. Shame I can't stick around.
Dan for vutagan aknan choktontai. Vebegor nesafun. No one agrosai. Why kon patron bigay tupa. Dan for vutagan aknan choktontai. Vebegor nesafun. Igo word. Kongi boy triole.
That guy looks pissed off.
I'll try not to lose my head.
Kumiku why man we chotai fai lai ambo sun nei lam sayo. Uabaska bam kin bungham tromwan lao the chow toksha.
That was pretty cool. Just get out of this group. See, where the hell am I going? Wait. Okay. Go to the Gormac thingamabob. Let's see what we got here. Suck lightsaber, bitch.
I like this.
By the way, if anyone can recommend a good keyboard that's not mechanical, I'd be much appreciated. I need to get rid of. Let me move this damn thing. I need to replace this. I had a God, what the hell is this thing called? Black Widow keyboard, but it makes a lot of noise and it disturbs my wife. And I like my wife more than I like the keyboard, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might give it away. I might sell it. I'm not sure, but I need a new keyboard in which doesn't make a crap load of noise.
Force, I can do anything.
Oh, crap, crap. Yeah, the stealth. The only thing about the stealth was that the price, what I'm paying for the stealth, because you can only get it through their store, is kind of killing me. But I guess I don't really have a choice in that matter then. I was thinking about picking up a Logitech something. I don't know. This is a wireless Logitech keyboard or whatever. I mean, it just happens to be what I have laying around, so. G19. Isn't the G19 the one with like the for real LED screen or LCD screen? That you could actually play the game on a screen. I think the screen is like that big or whatever. You could actually play the game on that screen. Yeah, that's ridiculous. The 510, I might get that.
The description I have is vague. Something about nightmares.
Okay.
It probably is corrupt, but I need to be healed. I'll take your advice to heart.
I like the Gormac. I really do. Fuck me, really?
I have this.
You know what? I'm not even gonna fight him. Whatever. $510.
My lord, Rudolphin here, Imperial Diplomatic Service. Atelis Callis tells me you're working with the Gormac. Anything to stop them from shooting our people on sight, eh?
I will put a good word in for you if I get the chance.
Well, yes, about that. When it comes to the Gormac, the Voss aren't very understanding. They wouldn't even allow us to keep one for research here on the station. The point is, be careful. When it comes to the
I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
Good luck, my lord, and thank you for your time.
Okay, enter the ritual site. I got it too. It should be north. It's not bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me or whatever. I mean, sometimes you get a keyboard or whatever and you're like, this doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel right, and that's all it was. It just wasn't right for me. So I'm sure I'll find something. Let's see, where the hell are we going? Outpost Skyline. What's this thing called? Okay. Imperial Station. Ah, boy. So anyway, I'd like to be done with this character this week. I'd like to be 50 on my Inquisitors so I can start working on my Jedi Knight or my Commando. I'm not sure which one I'm going to level up first. I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm going to level up first, but in any case or whatever, I need to get done with this one so I can work on the other one, because HK51 is around the corner. I don't know when they're going to release him. I don't know if he's going to be part of 1.4 or if he's just going to be a standalone thing or what, but he's right around the corner. So it's been a bit since the last update, which was about a month ago. So my money is on maybe a month and a half more.
A worthy disciple.
I don't think I use any of this stuff.
Be gone.
Let's see what we got here. Get your droid armor ready. Yeah, I've got it ready on one character. I haven't bothered trying to get it on other characters. I'm hoping that he comes with customizable slots. I would hope.
News of your victory preceded you. The entire city is talking of it. They say you took this so-called Gormak king captive.
Oh, I have to get Ashara out.
Samaro said something.
Which could mean anything. It might even refer to Voss. Samaro has already asked. Emissary,
It would be an...
Well done. One it.
I'm sure there's...
Dark see.
Let me get out of here. Yeah, I haven't done Cybertech either. I haven't done Cybertech. God, what else haven't I done? I haven't done the lightsaber making thingamabob yet. So, where the hell are we going now? Okay.
Vehicle pads are currently open for business.
Artifice, yeah. Lycos. Lycosa, whatever. Alright, I'll go ahead and take a look at that one. I've heard like a couple of people talk about it, so I'll try it. I'll give it a go, rather. Let me go check something. Let me go ahead and let me go use the restroom. Let me go use the restroom. And let me entertain you while I'm gone.
Rob's Used Car Emporium commercial, take 1.
Rob's Used Car Emporium is having the Memorial Day sale, the Indal Memorial Day sales. For 2 days only, if you buy a set of used steel belt radials, we'll throw in a free time machine.
We don't actually have one of those, Rob.
Shut up. You told me you invented one. What?
No, I told you that watching a chorus line was like stepping into a gay time machine.
So you're telling me that anybody that buys steel belt radials from us can be Shia LaBeouf for a day?
No, you're doing that loose interpretation thing again.
I'm sorry if I take everything said to me as an audience suggestion for an improv troupe that lives in my brain. Is that a crime?
Well, no, but...
Then we have nothing else to discuss. I say good day, sir.
But...
I said good day!
Rob's Used Car Emporium commercial, take 2.
For 2 days only, if you buy a set of used steel belt radials, we'll throw in a free...
Be Shia LaBeouf for a day.
You're gonna dub the new thing over me saying time machine, right?
Why don't you just say the new thing? That's kind of the reason why we're reshooting it.
So you've got connections in the business, right?
I guess.
I have this idea for a movie I've been waiting to pitch. I describe it as Die Hard at an airport.
So Die Hard 2.
What?
It's Die Hard 2.
No, this is a new idea. Never been done before.
No, you know, John McClane's at the airport and his wife's on the plane that gets hijacked by the terrorist. It's Die Hard 2.
Alright, for the sake of argument, let's just say you're right about that. I've got a backup pitch. This one's a variation on the last idea, except it takes place in the streets of New York. And he has a black partner, maybe Morgan Freeman.
It's Samuel L. Jackson.
No, I'm distinctly picturing Morgan Freeman.
No, you're describing the plot of Die Hard 3, and it's Sam Jackson in the role.
You really are hard to please. Alright, I've got one more. It's like my last idea, except for instead of Morgan Freeman, it's that Justin Long kid from Live Free or Die Hard. Oh, dear, this one is a doozy. I gotta nail it this time.
Alright, take 38.
Whether it's a Toyota, Nissan, Kia, Mercedes, BMW, Ford, Acura, Buick, Chrysler, Dodge, Isuzu, Saturn, Oldsmobile, Lincoln, Lexus, Volkswagen, Ferrari, Hyundai, Mazda, Mercury, Mitsubishi, whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whether you've got good credit, bad credit, no credit, fixed budget, high budget, low...
I'm so sorry.
Rob's Used Car Emporium has a complimentary coffee bar for all customers. That wasn't very professional of me. I apologize for that. Maybe you can dub something over that of me saying something positive about the dealership or something. Oh, you could do one where I sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
None of that's really necessary. I mean, we don't have to use every piece of footage we shoot.
0% APR financing on any used vehicle from now until 2015. I don't think this is going very well.
I agree.
How much time do you think we have to turn this thing back around before they start texting in their votes?
I don't think you fully understand what it is we're doing right now.
At Rob's Used Car Emporium, we're sending 2 airplanes of savings directly into the towers of your pocketbooks, bringing them crashing to the ground.
Cut!
What?
Oh god. Anyway. Let's see. What should I be doing now? I'll be doing that. I'll pick that one up. Let's see. I need to... They call Shaky the panty dropper. That's at least what I've been told.
Lem, stop chewing on... Do I need to get out the penalty collar? Apologies, my lord. Lem here wandered too far into the Nightmare Lands, went completely mad. Now he's helping me perfect my new vaccine. A remarkable specimen, but tedious company.
No one should have to suffer like that.
Oh no, I actually quite like the... Ah, you mean Lem, right. Clinical trials of the vaccine have been promising. My serum repels the Nightmare Land's degenerative effects and boosts pain tolerance.
Why would you let Lim have his gun
What my
still?
formula requires is the catalyst, sap from a very special tree in the Nightmare Lands. Unfortunately, the sap is a delicacy of the local raid population. Something to wash down all those troops they've been snacking on.
Can't you just use the sap from a different tree?
No other tree has been corrupted so thoroughly. Its sap has all kinds of unique properties. My vaccine will allow us to one-up the Republic and establish a solid...
I love how Lim is in the background, like, mocking him.
Surely you have nothing to fear from the Nightmare Lands, my lord. If you can get that sap, you're welcome to a complimentary dose of my serum.
That vaccine of yours could do us some good. I'll take care of it.
One more thing. Constant exposure to the corrupted sap has changed the raid, mutated them into something worse.
Worse.
They're a constant threat to our operations. If you were to thin their numbers, I'm sure you'd be company.
Why Lim? Okay, Lim is obviously crazy, right? Okay, let's look at Lim's face. No, that's not Lim. There he is. Look at him. He's nuts. It's like he doesn't remember what he's doing, right? But look at his back. You left him his gun, a rather impressive-looking gun. Sounds like a bad idea all around. All right, we got. I thought it was the breadstick dipper. Alright, let me go ahead and do something. I'll be right back. Hold on.